How's everybody doing? Good. I just wanted to make sure that, well, obviously we started on time, so that's a good thing. But, obviously I said before when I accepted this job that we're going to go through a process of hiring coaches. And, one of the things I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page with, so what my thought process was, is that, I wanted to go ahead and hire the two best coordinators that I can find that can help our program win. And really, that was the only thing I was looking for from the coordinator position before I started looking at the assistant coaches and what they can do for us from a standpoint of coaching and from a standpoint of recruiting. And really, that's how I'm following this right now. And this next gentleman that I'm going to be able to introduce, I've known since 1992. Really shared a lot of thoughts over those years, visiting each other at both programs. And I think that when you look at people and you hire people, one of the things you want to look at is you want to make sure someone's a good teacher, and then you want to look at his accomplishments. And a lot of times people get tied up, including myself and a lot of coaches and a lot of people in our industry, and really just, on one specific instance, okay? And really what you have to do is when you look at coaches and you look at people that we're hiring is really, the overall career. And I really think that with the gentleman I'm about to introduce, when you look at his overall career and the statistics and the amount of things that he's accomplished in that position, you're going to see a lot of great things. The one thing I was looking for at that coordinator position, either one, offense and defense, which we're working on, obviously the other, is someone that has experience in play calling. And having been with, Coach Payton and having called plays in the preseason with the New Orleans Saints, I found that there's a lot that goes into that. There's a great appreciation that I think some people may not even really acknowledge. Be able to, in an instance, game plan during the week and then within 40 seconds be able to, make the right call. And we're always looking for that perfect call. We're always looking for that call that's going to change the game. And I really think with the next gentleman I'm about to introduce that he's going to do that for our football team. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Rob Spence.
It's an honor and a privilege to accept this position at Syracuse University. When I was a young man coming out of college, I probably told this story yesterday a couple of times, but this says it all. I remember going into my stepfather's office and opening boxes, and they were boxes of Syracuse memorabilia. His brother, Alan Spillett, played 1958, 59, 60, and 61, was on the teams at Syracuse University. And when I opened those boxes up, I saw history unfold in front of my eyes. I opened up one box and there was a Letterman jacket from Syracuse University. And then there were playbooks from the years that obviously Ben Swashwalder was a head football coach. And there was different diagrams of different formations. There were scouting reports, and I was just in another world. And I started to get excited about someday coaching. And I remember at that point in my life that Syracuse University was the mecca of coaching. And I got excited about someday arriving here and coaching here. And I saw this as a great opportunity to fulfill a dream, to coach with somebody that I admire as much as Doug Marrone, to coach with somebody that I respect as much as Doug Marrone, and to collaborate on offense with somebody who has been the architect of one of the better offenses that you'll find in the NFL in the last 10 years. That day that I was studying all those different artifacts from Syracuse, I thought someday that maybe this would happen. But dreams in fact do and can happen, obviously. There's a quote that I had above my office for many years, and it says, it's from T.S. Eliot. It says, "Tradition cannot be inherited. It is obtained through great labor." This program has great tradition, and Doug is going about the business of hiring people that will labor to rebuild it and rebuild the tradition in a way that people can be proud here. And I'm proud to be a part of that tradition, proud to be a part of that process that's about to unfold. That being said, again, this is an exciting moment for me, for my family, and for everybody, and it's a chance to come back home. Just miles down the road, my stepfather's family grew up in Salve, And I feel a real kinship and affiliation with the people here because of that. And I know that they're excited today as I stand here. In many respects, they're also living a dream. Because Syracuse was, as I grew up and started to watch football as a coach and as a player, this was the mecca of football for me living in New York State.
You still have family in the area? Are they still here?
My stepfather, Mickey Spillett, his mom is she's in a home here about 10 minutes away from this campus, and I can't wait to see her. Laura, she's already excited about this. I think she might have purchased season tickets already.
Are these Spillets that are related to the lacrosse playing?
Thomas Allen Spillett played here. He was on the 59, 60, 61 teams.
When you look at your, you've been in this business.
I want to welcome you, Coach, to this place.
Thank you very much.
And I think when you go out recruiting, this is the kind of guys you're looking for.
There's no question.
I just want everybody to know. I want them to make sure when you recruit.
Nice
Awful happy you got here, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Just remember
Thanks.
this. We're with you, win a tie. That's all.
I'll remember that. Yeah.
I guess there's certain points in any coach's career where you're going to, go into the trial by fire. Is that was this the first time you experienced it this season, or have you experienced it before?
The issue about being at Clemson and being with Coach Bowden. Coach Bowden hired me, and I was tied with Coach Bowden, and I was loyal to Coach Bowden. And that's probably where the discussion can begin and end, is the best way to put it.
Any questions for Coach?
You're going to be the fifth offensive coordinator here in 6 years, going back to George DeLeon in 2004, I think. What can you do different? This offense has struggled for a long time. I'm sure you're aware of that. I'm sure you haven't gotten to study the film and know exactly why. But what's your approach to offense?
I think the approach right now is to evaluate. You have to evaluate the talent that's here now, that exists here now, to really do a good, thorough study of the personnel that you have on your team, and then to build towards that, to create towards that, and to make the best use of the personnel that you have right now. And that takes a lot of study and creativity. And what we're about to undertake is not to be easy. There's been some great coaches that have coached here, some that I respect greatly and know personally. And we have to start with, again, what's here, and then recruit in a creative manner, recruit explosive athletes, recruit character, recruit toughness. This is Syracuse University. This is a special place. One thing I know about Syracuse is in their day, they were tough, they were physical, and they were fast. It happened once, it can happen again.
You identified with any particular system, or does it depend on the talent?
Doug and I are going to collaborate on that, and we are very close in regard to our philosophies on football. We've known each other since 1992. I've many times had the opportunity to go study and research at different venues that Doug has coached, and he's a master of offense. I welcome the opportunity to work for a head football coach that has coached so much offense and also has coached in particular the offensive line. I think that's really, really vital. So he is an absolute definite resource for me, and we're together on what we're going to do. I would not put a label on what we're going to do. I definitely want it will be a multiple offense. And obviously, I think in this day and age, the game is based on your ability to attack and to push the ball down the field, not necessarily just with a long ball and with a forward pass, but to attack and have a mentality and a tempo in your approach to the game. That's really, really important in the college game today.
Questions for Coach Moreau?
Anything to report on the recruiting front? I know since you've been here, it's been out a week.
Well, the recruiting front is the first question. Is really one of the things that you want to make sure that you do when you go out is when the coaches had gone out on the road, and obviously a lot of phone calls from myself, is you always want to know how you're received. And obviously one of the big things for me and one of the top priorities was to hire a an established recruiter in the areas that we spoke about in really New York City and Long Island. So, John Asamo came on board, and as fast as we brought him in, we pushed him out. So he went out on the road, and what makes me feel good, or what should make us all feel good right now, is the way that we are being received. Having been a product of that area, New York City, and having been around those coaches for a long time, the number one thing that they had told me was they wanted to make sure that we brought one of their own in, that someone could come in that school and not really have to introduce themselves to them. And really that's what we have going on right now, and that's what we're looking to do in the other areas. And there's an excitement right now, and it might not show we might not get that instant result, with maybe turning a kid or, getting a 3-star or 4-star, and I'm not as big on the ratings now. I'm more concerned about what the ratings are once we get them on our football team. But, I'm excited right now from a standpoint of, also bringing Robbie. I can't tell you how many people have called, Coach, when can we get you down here to speak at this clinic? When can we get you down here to speak at this clinic? Could we get Robbie down to speak? He spoke at our clinics, before in the past. And I think it's important that when you hire a staff, and you hire a staff of good football coaches that have had great accomplishments, that the high school coaches are going to want to bring you into their area. They're going to want you to speak to their fellow coaches. And when we can get out and speak to 200 high school coaches, we can't get that type of exposure. So I'm excited about what's going on right now.
How close are you with your other coordinator?
The other coordinators that we're talking to, as of right now, we're talking to 4 or 5. And what I have to do is, again, I said that there's going to be a process. I want to make sure that, we're talking on the phone, every single day with 4 or 5 potential candidates for that position. I have to make sure of who has the closest and the philosophy that I have, what we're going to bring to this program, what they can do to better Syracuse University. And I think that takes a little bit of time, and that's what we're going through right now. Once I get a good feel of exactly, their beliefs and their thoughts and their process of how they're going to get our program to be back where we all want it to be, right? Then we'll go to the interview process of face-to-face, on the board, the things that we do in our profession. So I'm looking forward to that. As far as a timetable, I really don't want to ever get stuck down to that timetable. Like I said before, and I believe the press conference or maybe on the side, I've been into enough situations where there have been changes. I've been on staffs where people have been let go individually. I've seen decisions made out of haste, decisions that were made quickly, and I'm not going to do that to this program. I have too much responsibility now, and too much responsibility for the people in the community, the alumni, the university, to make a poor decision. So these things are going to be well thought out. There's always going to be a plan for who we're hiring. There's always going to be a why. And you're always going to see, and I just hope that, I'm here to make sure that everyone understands, and if anyone has any questions on the whys or anything, please, I'm here to answer them. So I look forward to this process.
Rob, could I ask you, I think we're entering a dead period now, if I'm correct. So you have some time here that you don't have to worry about that aspect of it. How are you going to use this time right now during this dead period?
Well, yesterday my job here began with assessing the talents of the quarterbacks that exist that are here. And so I've spent most of the last day and a half just watching film of Syracuse University and starting to get familiar with the players that exist and have been recruited here. That's what I plan on doing the rest of the day. I've also started to look at some prospects and recruits at different positions, starting with the quarterback position. Starting to analyze that, starting to see who we might get involved with now, and starting to also get a feel for what our greatest needs are on the offensive side of the ball in recruiting. And that's what I'm doing at this point in time. And also, trying to help Doug identify potential candidates for the jobs that exist here.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it going to be a collaborative effort now on the openings on the offensive side of the ball for assistants?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I'll make the final decision.
Right.
And that's one thing that, Rob and I talked about. But obviously, Rob's input is going to be important. We're both looking for the same type of individual. The reason why Rob's here and the coaches that are going to come on board are going to have the same principles that I have. And obviously, Syracuse University deserves the best, and that's what I'm trying to get accomplished.
When you came out on the announcement of your hiring, you said you were going to hire a staff that either had close ties to Syracuse or close ties to the Northeast, and so far you've done just that. I mean, is there any temptation now to say I have enough, or is it going to continue to be the focus?
No, it's going to continue to be the focus, and it will always continue to be the focus as long as I'm the head coach of Syracuse. Now, with saying that, if we do have someone outside of the program or outside of those parameters that have been set, that is an extraordinary coach, an extraordinary recruiter, you know, for me to sit here and say we wouldn't look at that person would be ridiculous. So, you know, those options will be, you know, given to everyone, and, you know, the day that happens and when that person is hired, it's not going to, everyone in this room is not going to say, well, why did you hire this coach?
Coach Murray, you've already made several hires. I mean, how happy are you with the group of guys that you've been able to bring in here so far?
Well, I'm extremely happy. I mean, you know, a lot of times you're always sitting, you're always saying, hey, you know, when you get this job, who are the people you're going to hire? And right now it's going to the number one people. You know, John Anselmo was the number one guy I wanted to bring in, you know, for that area, for his recruiting, for his expertise, for his knowledge of evaluations. There's a lot more that goes into just being a good football coach. You need to evaluate talent. You need to be able to teach. You need to be able to have shown that you've won. You need to have progression in your teaching. And, you know, obviously John has all that. And then again, when we talked about the offensive side of the ball, you know, I've known Robbie for a long time. I've known a lot of coaches that coached under Robbie, okay? So I know what he demands out of his assistant coaches. Obviously, I followed his offenses. You know, obviously, we've been back and forth, and we study each other quite a bit. That's a compliment for everyone. And the first person I wanted to go after was Rob, and that's another one. So right now, like I said before, I still need to go out and play the lottery every week, because right now we're doing well for, you know, the people that we want here at our university.
Coach Spence, does having a tool like the Dome give you an advantage in making an offensive game plan and looking for the type of athletes, or are you going to kind of make your offensive philosophy irregardless of where you'll be playing week to week?
I think the Dome is an attractive feature of the university. I think it's a great selling point to anybody looking to play in this part of the country in a controlled environment. The Dome is about speed. There's no wind, there's no ice, there's no rain. Talk to any quarterback, talk to any skill athletes, and one of the things that you can't control is the weather and the element. And in that Dome, the element is controlled, and that can play into your benefit, into your favor time and time again. I know, having coached in the Dome before, the fact that it's loud, that helps us on offense, it helps our team, it helps our program. That is a venue that's, again, a traditional venue, an exciting place to play, and when it's packed, there aren't many places that are like that in this country. You know, when it's loud, and that again plays to your favor. But it's a great surface, and it should be an advantage in the recruiting process.
Anything else for Coach Marone or Coach Spence?
Coach Spence, is there any difference for you compared to when you started at Clemson compared to now, where Syracuse is a program in transition? Does that provide a different challenge or a different perspective for you as you take over here?
Well, I think there definitely is a difference. I think that the transition to a no-huddle offense and that style of communication will be probably a drastic difference for the players. I think that's going to be fun. That's going to be exciting. I think that I probably, coming into this situation, know that there needs to be more recruiting and more talent brought in right now. And I know that that's going to be a factor in what we do and what we accomplish in the next couple of years. And that's why Coach Marone has put such an emphasis on that. And well, he should. That's what the game of football is about, personnel, and putting personnel that you like against people that you feel that match up well.
Thank you very much.